Hello, friends. My desk is an absolute mess. But I just got some things in the mail I thought I would share. Just 3 little things. I've wanted this stencil for quite some time. I just got my order. I only ordered 3 things from a Cherry on Top. They were having for Memorial Day weekend 20% off everything that was full price or something. Anyway, it ended up being that the discount I got made it so that, I forgot, I don't like to open it like that. But the discount I got pretty much paid for the shipping. So I was happy and, covered the shipping. I buy an awful lot on Amazon because I don't want to pay for shipping. But sometimes Amazon doesn't have things. Like it did not have this one all by itself. It's called Labels. Anyway, I like to store them like this. And I'll be cutting part of this off. I keep them in, I'll just show you what I do. So I leave all this on and then I'll turn this around. And then I'll put this in like this. And then, usually I do this on my guillotine. But there's no reason why I couldn't do that. Okay. And now it will fit in my drawer. And the reason I do it is so it'll fit in my drawer. So, anyway. That's how I keep them. And I can't wait to use this. The other thing I got was, this is Foundry. This is the big one. This is the, is it A5, A6? I just know he called it large. This is the mini. I love the mini. I probably use it the most. I'll even show you a page I just did. So you can see right here that I used the mini. This was the not mini. This was the regular. Here's another mini. Bring it up. Because if you're cutting something small out of it, besides Mickey and Minnie, right? They go together. But if you're and this is how it cuts. But if you're gonna cut something small out of it, you want to have lots of little doohickeys to be in it. Whereas to cut it out of this, well, that would work out too. They would just be bigger. I would just cut it out of, and it'd come out of like one of these. But there's an awful lot of empty space then, which is fine for certain projects, but not for, when you're doing something little. And this is the regular one. So I am very happy. I just got that in the mail. But here's the one. Here is something that brings me joy. So, see this fuzzball? Yeah, can you tell? You see how fuzzy that is? I mean, just fuzzy wuzzy. It's annoying. So, ta-da! I think it comes with like this film over it. That one, somehow it didn't happen. So, I don't know. Anyway. So here I am in this book. I'm going to close that. This is just the pages. Anyway, here I am in this book. This is the last page of this signature. And I've decided I want to do this picture here. And look, like you can see that I took it and then I took it long. I wanted my son in it, and then so this is going to be the new Toy Story Land, which has already opened. Andy's backyard. So I'm going to cut this, but it's going to be a 2-page layout. Well, 2 of my teeny tiny pages, right? Not your typical 2-page layout. So I want it to go over 2 pages, but now that I think about it, that's not going to work. Ha! Okay, where there's a will, there's a way. I just moved all of my story in one. Okay, trying this again. So I want to start a new signature. I'm going to do a 2-page layout. So I'm going to start with 2 pieces of paper. They are 65 weight. I've tried heavier paper. I like this weight the best. Sometimes the heavier paper will crack here just because now you're pushing a lot to fold it. So anyway, this one works for me. So if you watched how I had to cut down part of a page, it's because a year ago I was cutting them at 12. So this is 12 inches by 20 centimeters because some of the books are smaller. Now I kind of, well, I measure the book first. But anyway, so the first one, so this is 12 inches and this is 20 centimeters. And I'm going to fold it. So the first page I'm going to fold in half. And I like to score it on my scoreboard because it even makes it fold better. So, and I like this. This is a Tim Holtz, but I like this size ball. Tried a bunch of different of the balls. I've also tried different bone folders, and I have just found that this is my preference. Oop, not that size, this side. So this, I generally do 1 inch. You could even go a little smaller than 1 inch, but 1 inch is real good. So this is going to be the second page. This is going to my fold out. I like them. I mean, you know, if you don't like them, don't do them. But I do. I like the way I don't know. I just like the way they look. So now this is 11 inches. All right, with that fold. So now I'm going to 5.5. Let's see. I'm going to do a little less than 5.5 so that when I fold it in, there'll be a little bit of a space. So the last time I did this, I totally made a wrong fold. And I was not happy with myself. So let's see. Oh, good. I did well. Yay! Now when I work on this, I'm going to take everything that's inside out so that it's a lot flatter. I just kind of want to give you a visual as to what I'm trying to do. Now, when I used to scrapbook in 12 by 12, I always started with a white page, always. And I guess that carries over to now because I still like to start with a white page. I have tried starting with other color pages. In fact, in this book, you can see that, not there, here. I started with this gray stripe page. It looks fine. I think I would have been happier if I started with a white page. So, let's turn this over. So this is going to be a 2-page layout. Well, or basically, if you're using a sketch, then this would be a 1-page layout. So now my thought is, before I get started on that, and I need to know this before I get started, do I want to put this here? I should switch it. I particularly like the flip outs like this. So that when we then pull this out, I can either have this photo here or I can open it up to reveal this layout like that. So that's something that I need to decide. And the best way to decide that is to look at what other pictures that I have to go with this. So right now I'm going to count. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I have 6 photos that I could put there to make it. So like, oh, let me flip through these photos again. So like I could put this right here. And then this was, again, this is 2018. This was in April 2018. And it's going to open the end of June. I had several friends going, ooh, take pictures and let me know what you can see. I think they're cute. I'll cut them down a bit and do something fun with them. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is how I want to do this flip. This will affect this page here, but it's not going to affect this page here. So I don't have to attach it yet, but when I do, I will attach it with this red line tape. I get it on Amazon. It really, when you put this on, it is cement and you will never get it off. So anyway, I thought I would show you that. You probably don't really want to watch me make the page, but I thought this would be a good place to give you an idea of how to start your construction of your book. And just also to let you know, in doing these books, like I said, when I used to scrapbook, I started with white, and I like to start with white now. But you can experiment. You can try different things, and I have tried different things, and I've gone back to, this is how I like to start. I like to start on a blank sheet. Oh, so also, when we were making this, I inked over here, and I knew I would cover that. And you can see that there's a little bit of mess here. And that's not going to be a problem either because I'm going to cover it. And in fact, I will get started just a little bit. So now to show you this page, this is, so these two with whatever is attaching it is 12. These two are 12. And then these two here are 12 inches. And then, and it's attached. And then it's on the back as well. So everything is on both sides of this piece of paper. To get it flat, I have to bring it like this. So I'm going to start just addressing this one right here. And for here, I'm going to, because I want to carry some stuff over like you would do in a scrapbook with paper, I'm just going to set it here so that when I am carrying it over, I am making sure it all lines up. So the paper I'm going to use for my stash is your typical scrapbook pattern paper. It's probably 20-pound paper, which is the same weight, paper weight as, is this going to fit? Oh. Well, I may have to just cut that twice. But it's the same weight of paper that copy paper is. So I'm going to measure this first. And so these are both 6 inches. So clearly this paper, I cut something off on the end at one point and I didn't measure. It's not going to matter. I actually am going to need to use a little bit more of this if I follow the sketch. You may say, well, how are you going to follow a 12 by 12 sketch on, 12 by 8 page? So when I look at a sketch, I kind of make a determination as to how big I want, to make my paper thing. It's clearly not going to be exact. I can either go smaller than, let's see, this is supposed to go, oh, that's not the right one. So I'm kind of using it as inspiration, trying to make it look somewhat like the sketch, but not necessarily the exact measurements, because there's no way I can make them the exact measurements, right? So anyway, so that is how I start out. I also need to make sure, I've mentioned this many times, that I don't go over these lines. So I'm gonna actually start by inking this one. And another thing, I make sure that this is going to be ever so slightly less than, so I probably should snip a bit off this end. I probably did that crooked, and since there are no mistakes in junk journals, it's going to be just fine. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to ink my papers. I'll have to cut this one down as well, and then I will ink all of them. See, that one's the off cut. There we go. And then I will get started building my page. So this is how I start. Then after I've gotten this page done, I will glue this on. I can do it now if I want to. I could glue it on right now. But that just means I'm gonna have this much more to deal with when I'm making the page. I have to do it before I go here. Now, okay, here's some other thoughts. And we did that with this one here. So this page, I'm mostly gonna be using my paper from my stash. I don't, and the same with this one. I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do here or here or here or here. So before I glue that down, I will determine, because if I'm going to do inking like I did here, I'm gonna wanna do it also before I glue it in. So it does take a little bit of planning. When I scrapped in 12 by 12, and I don't know how many of you have scrapped in 12 by 12 or still do, it doesn't matter whether this page, in the book, whether you are scrapping them at the same time or not. You can, it really doesn't even matter now. I still have an empty spot in my book that I need to finish up. But if you are a mixed media person, like I have become, so taking a little bit of time to determine what I'm going to put on these and whether I'm going to do like inking and spritzing, I'll want to do all of that before I put it in the book, because you don't want inking and spritzing on a photograph, so. Okay, anyway, so I have bored you enough, but I thought I would just show how I get started. Say I don't have this book at all. I'm starting a brand new book, just like I'm starting this page. This is what I will do. I like this fold. I have done folds where I flip up. I don't like that as much, but I have done them and they're fun. Like where I flip a bunch up and then they flip down. Again, I've tried a lot of different things. I found what I do like. And I like the way these books go. But it makes it really easy. It makes it, it's fun. I had a friend today, we were taking a walk. And I was telling her how, she asked me why I was using sketches. I have friends who make sketches and then they put them out for their friends to use, right? It wouldn't matter. You could use any sketch off of Pinterest or whatever. And I told her, sometimes when the well is dry, it is really nice to have something to give me some inspiration to spark it and let it go. I like the process also. I really do. If I don't, let me start inking this while I'm talking. But if I'm not happy with, it needs ink. I like having my pages uniquely different. And she said, you would think you've been scrapbooking long enough that you wouldn't need to look at a sketch or anything. And I was like, well, I mean, I'd like my pages to be uniquely different. It makes it more fun too, you know? I mean, like, if I made every page that looked like this, so every page I'm gonna, you know, put the stamp on there, and it's, yeah, I can probably crank them out pretty fast if I'm gonna use a tried and true formula on every page, but I also would get bored really fast. So I like to try new things. So don't be afraid to try new things. I've watched enough other people, especially Louisa Heinzel. Okay, but I need to remember not to ink right on the edge because I need to measure that. And I'll show you an easy way to measure. Look at this. Look. Probably one of those things my mother taught me, right? So this is that much too big, and now it's not. Now, if I was a perfectionist, I would have made sure that was absolutely straight. I've just kind of got to where I used to. Okay, I have to tell you, I did used to make sure everything was absolutely perfect and straight. And now I don't. Just because this is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be art. This is supposed to be a fun little journey. And yes, my desk is just out of control. But anyway, so, and you're going to say, Wendy, why did you use brown instead of yellow? Well, you know, I could have used yellow and that would have been fine too. I just really like brown. So that's just one of those, again, a personal preference. Am I going to use brown around here, or am I going to use green? I think I'm going to use green. I'm also going to make sure that they are the same size. Here, I'll flip it over so that you can tell. See, I want it to be the same size. It's ever so slightly not. And yes, I have like 3 pairs of scissors just sitting out here at all times. So I think I'm going to do a dark green around there. And I will definitely do something here to cover that up, whether I put an embellishment there or whatever. So basically, I am going to work on this page. When I get done with it, I will just come back in and show you what this ended up looking like. This will be stitched in the book, as will this. They won't look exactly seamless because there's going to be a gap. I'll show you. This probably isn't the most perfect example because the 2 pages are not, they complement one another, but it's not like I did one layout and then there's this gap here. But you get the idea. The gap isn't going to matter. I really was not very good about putting page protectors on everything when I first started, because this is Corby. This is my very first book. So one day when I am not just busy with something else, I need to just pull out a stack of page protectors, cut them up, and start protecting my pages. But in the meantime, you can see where these flow together. Does it matter that there's this gap here? I'm sorry about the light though. I do not think so. I don't think that the gap matters. Gaps happen, right? So I'm just going to turn my camera on for a minute. This is going to go about like that. I think I'm going to do something around the edge. It may just be vellum again. Isn't it sad that I'm going to be covering those stars up? Yeah, that definitely made me sad. I may have to find, ooh, look, see, there's another star right here. I may pull one of these out and stick it up in there just to show it off because they're so cute. Anyway, so now that I have this all down, I have this piece here, and it's going to go here because it'll carry that on. Okay, I am done. And I love how it turned out. I'm going to have to let my friend know how much I really like this sketch. You never know when you get started. When you're starting with a blank page, what do you know is going to happen, right? Anyway, if you enjoyed this, please give it a big thumbs up. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment if you would like to. And I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.